what I'm going to share in next 3-4 minutes is just an extract of what I did while I was going through these sessions. So virtually what I did, I made a commitment to myself that I will not get distracted by what's happening outside, because majority of that was looking completely out of control. And I brief about me. I had a business of ASEAN Born Brewery. It's a Sweden company, mainly in the power sector, plus a lot of robotics. So it's a hardcore heavy engineering group based out of Bangalore. I'm leading that group. But more than my official assignment, this is one assignment where I connect with at least 1,200 people directly under my focus. And my biggest issue was that how do I manage myself as a leader or a face of these 1,200 people in a positive way? And I think what happened is the whole support came from this group, which I'm so happy that I could share some of it. So this whole topic is about emotional wellness. I will probably now zoom down into what happened with me. So when I entered into a few months of this pandemic and this whole COVID, the way it was, showing up in India, I said no. And again, I wasted a bunch of weeks in that where I would get concerned and emotionally shattered as to how do I handle it. But I then zero down into basic fundamentals. One is that area of influence and area of concern. In one of the sessions somewhere we discussed, and we do talk about it, but we don't practice it. So one thing which I have started doing and really it works is that whenever I get into any of these conversation on phone or in person or otherwise, I do select whether is it in my control or not in my control. If it is not in my control, let's not too much bother about it. But amongst those discussions, there's a bunch of things which are in your control. So one, I would say the big tip or a sharing of expertise will be that definitely for good emotional wellness, focus on what is in your control. Let's not bother about too many things because you may not be in a position to solve, particularly in this environment we are in. The second part, which was very important, is that what is in my control was my physical safety, or keep myself and my family, my near ones, my elders safe and away from this virus. So that whole discipline of how do I do it made me that at least I don't have something which is in my control, but I'm not handling it. But the third thing which really came up, which really helps us, is put a purpose in front of you. What am I doing? Is my job only to take care of my office and the assignment, or there's a bigger purpose to it? And I will share some demonstrated action what I did. So the purpose which came handy to me was that this whole chaos is just because we have not taken care of the environment and ourselves. And it's a very commonly talked about things, but what is in my control, I will share about what happened. And it has to be somehow tangible. You have to touch and feel. You have to celebrate success. Let's not put something which is so far flung that we can't even taste and feel good about it. So that is one which came up as the third point. Keep a very strong purpose in front of you so that you don't get weathered away or distracted by some of these what is happening. But then comes the social connect. So whether it is WhatsApp, I'm not a very huge fan of texting and WhatsApp. I prefer to pick up a phone and have a chat for the person to whom I really worry. But then comes the whole piece of compassion, and I think we talked about in one of the sessions. So you'll be surprised what happened. I actually picked up who are the most vulnerable, set of people whom with I have used or worked. Maybe used is the wrong word, but I got connected. You'll be surprised. I picked up the plumber, picked up the carpenter, picked up the electrician, who I don't know how they are facing the crowd, how they are facing this pandemic. I'm still, well off. Still, I'm nervous. So whenever you connect with that social network, you get a huge amount of actions for you where you don't get bothered about what's going wrong. You get into the frame of what I can do, right? So that came up as the fourth or fifth key action which came up to me. But then somewhere I think we are getting too much obsessed by the technology. What I did is I little bit went backwards rather than looking at books on electronic media or a text. I went into the little bit physical world, and that gave me the basics back, which somewhere I had lost. Uh, so on those pieces, one thing which really comes up is, can I really rebuild my journey? So what I did and my daughter did, we picked up lots of photographs we have taken. Otherwise, these are all in the digital way, to create a journey of my lifetime. And I could see my 45 years or 50 years of existence coming live. So somewhere you have to put a purpose as to what am I doing, why am I doing, and how I can contribute to a bigger world. So I took plunge, or a promise to myself that I will going to reduce or recycle plastics. And what happened is, since I was under a lockdown environment, I converted my garden using all these bottles and the various plastic waste which would have gone bad. Second thing was, how do I really recycle water? So all these filters which we do, and again, I am propagating that in my society where I stay. Then this whole recycling the kitchen waste. Again, these are not rocket science. We all know about it. But the real fun of emotional wellness was in doing. When I use both my hands, and I'm later on I understood that when you use both your hands, your entire brain gets activated, right? So these are all small things. But then when you put commitment, you have to go in the market. So with that action, I went in front of the entire organization saying that this is what I have done. And the time I used was the World Environment Day recently.